Now let us start practicing meditation. We are showing you a method of Agni Yoga meditation which has proven itself for over 20 years in Tbilisi. Of course, everyone must find the practice that is most suitable for him in his individual life situation. Listen to, try to imitate what we are proposing, and then introduce your own improvements. Let me stress once again, when we speak of meditation, we mean an exchange of energy, a conversation with a being belonging to the higher spheres. The first practical question is, where do you want to meditate? The best is, of course, if you can reserve a small room just for meditation. A private chapel where you do not admit any worldly vibrations which might disrupt your higher connection. If this is not possible, you might be able to erect a family altar in a corner of your room, a small table with a candle and the pictures of the teacher and the saint of the day. Where there is no room even for this, a prayer rug is sufficient, which is standing rolled up in a corner during the day. The next practical question is, when do you want to meditate? Best 3 times a day. In the morning for about an hour, briefly at noon, and again in the evening an hour. If that is not feasible, you should try to reserve in the morning before and in the evening after the worldly day at least 15 minutes to care for your soul. The important thing is to establish a certain rhythm. Not only you have to adjust your instrument regularly during the day so that it remains receptive for the higher currents. The higher powers as well have to adapt to you. If you sometimes call them urgently several times a day and then do not send one word for months, you cannot expect that a natural connection is being created. One should pray each day, otherwise it is better not to pray at all. So one way to start with the regular practice of meditation might be to reserve fixed times, for example, on Wednesdays and Sundays only. Therefore, do I entreat you, if you value life and its opportunities, to give room in the program of the days for hours of pause, meditation, and communion with your own soul, with me, and with those under me who would lead you through safe waters. Not once, but frequently do I ask you to follow such course. It must be a steady, constant practice, not occasional and erratic, or in some sudden moment after winds and storms are upon you. We describe in this broadcasting only meditation as such. We remind you that it is embedded in the monastic rhythm of the day. Accordingly, before the higher connection, there is half an hour of gymnastics outdoors. and after it follows an hour of studying the books of Agni Yoga, which is actually also part of meditation. A difficult question is, in what position do you want to meditate? Again, we can only pass on our experience. Then every one of you must see for himself what works best for him. Meditation while lying down is hardly to recommend, because that easily leads to sleepiness. You want to have a conversation with the higher world. For this, you have to be alert, focused, and ready to perceive even the smallest, finest signs. Therefore, it is best to keep the back perfectly straight, upright. Some meditate sitting down. I cannot make it to sit still for such a long time. In the Middle Ages, special chairs were used, so-called prie-dieu, but that causes pain in the knees. Today, all sorts of cushions and support equipment is offered. The ideal meditation position is the lotus posture. In this pose, you can sit on a folded towel or a small pillow for almost an indefinite length of time without that the body hurts. There is the perfect position with mutually folded lower legs. And the small posture in which one lower leg is placed upon the other. To me, the perfect position will remain unattainable during this lifetime. It took me about 7 years to learn the small posture. Initially, the knees point skywards, but with time and a lot of practice, it is possible to pull them down more and more. Start trying. It is well worth the effort. An indispensable condition of any meditation is purity. A pure prayer reaches the goal. Pure hearts will perceive the highest. This applies, first of all, physically. Ideally, you shower before the session in order to wash away the dirt of the day or the remains of the night. Then you will put on pure white clothes, reserved for meditation only. In antiquity, it was required that before praying the priest should bathe and put on clean garments. Now the reverse has come about. Luxurious outer garments are displayed, but cleanliness beneath is forgotten. Many books have been written, yet hearts become silent. Thus it is necessary to remember that you need not luxury of dress, but purity. Let the purity of the path lead to purity of the heart. Prayer cannot rise from a stained heart. Above all, however, spiritual purity is required. You must banish all impure thoughts, because they render the connection with a higher being impossible. With an aura contaminated by desires or petty personal earthly energies, you should not dare to approach a master. The process of the creation of a pure atmosphere is like creating a channel for the reception of fiery energies. Pure thinking will guarantee cooperation. This requires a high level of control of your thoughts, which can be reached only gradually with a lot of practice. The main condition for establishing contact with the higher world is silence. This applies first externally. Make absolutely sure that you cannot be disturbed during meditation by anything or anyone. The door must be closed and the mobile phone turned off. Your family and flatmates must learn to respect this hour of retreat. Above all, you have to come to rest internally. You have to banish all thoughts dealing with your worldly projects, challenges, concerns, and difficulties. Should you wish to study the depths of a well, you must have a calm surface and clear water. Your higher spiritual nature can unfold only if your perishable self keeps calm. If you want to connect with the highest, you have to retreat to your inner self. Only if you manage to bring the earthly hustle and bustle to rest, you will be able to hear the voice of silence. Let us learn to hearken to silence. The wings of the spirit grow in silence. The higher connection is a fruit of silence. It is in silence that the essence is found. Let us not believe that in silence emptiness embraces us. When the material world keeps calm, the subtle sounds of the higher spheres make themselves heard. There is no silence, because once the earthly sounds are still, the echoes of the subtle world begin to be heard. As the manifested world disappears, one awakens to the voice of the subtle world. Then the inner, the spiritual world begins to speak to us. But amidst attainment, devote time to silence of the spirit. Then shall I approach thy inner being. Then are you approached by the messenger of the instruction.